Lulah, the Fish and the Whale by Jade Maitre. One day, Lula was wandering the beach, wind in her hair and sun in her face. She was watching the little boats drifting on the horizon like bath toys when she felt something slippery by her toe. It was a little silver fish, glistening and flipping in the whitewash. Little fish do not belong on the sand, so Lula bent down and gently scooped it in her palms. Then she went to the edge of the sea and let the fish back into the deep, cool waters beyond the breakers. The little fish was so grateful to be back in the sea. Before it went back to its family, it popped its head from amidst the swaying swell and spoke like bubbles popping. "Thank you, girl," bubbled the little fish. "That was a very kind thing to do." "It was easy for me to do," replied Lula. "I was walking here anyway. I just bent and picked you up. I'm very big, so you aren't very heavy to me." "But you were kind," burbled the little fish. "You could have walked past, but you didn't. Why didn't you?" "You looked unhappy," said Lula. "I don't think little fish like you can live outside the sea." "That is true," said the little fish, "and big girls can't live inside the sea. But I would like to give you a gift because you are a nice girl, and one good turn deserves another. Is there anything in the sea that you would like, that I could bring you as a gift?" Lula thought about that. She looked at the sparkling water, and just looking at the water made her realize how lucky she was to be there at all, when she could have been stuck inside a house, or hot in a desert, or bored in a busy shopping mall. "I don't think so," she said. "I have everything I need right now." The little fish was so surprised he plopped out of the water and back down again with a splash. "You mean to say, girl, there is nothing at all in this big beautiful sea that would make you happy? Not shells that sparkle like glass, or seaweed as bushy as bunches of flowers, or tiny coloured stones like the prettiest jewels?" Lula thought again, and she knew that shells that sparkle like glass and bushy blooms of seaweed and tiny coloured stones might make her happy for a moment. But they were somewhere in the sea right now, making other people happy who saw them, so it didn't seem to make much of a difference whether they were here or there. "No," said Lula again. "I'm just happy going on my walk in the sand." The little fish nodded from the waves. "So you like walking? You like exploring? I can see that now. You don't need things, that's good. But what about if you did something fun? I have a friend who is a whale. He could take you on a ride through the sea. There are not many girls who've ridden on a whale through the sea." Riding on a whale did sound rather nice, and Lula had done all her swimming lessons and knew how to swim if she fell off. Would he like a little girl sitting on him though, she wondered. "He does like giving rides," said the little fish. "Even I had a ride once. I slid back off again like a water slide. He said it's like having a hug, and he's so big that everyone feels very small to him. Most of all, he likes to make his friends happy, and that's why he does it." "Okay," said Lula. "I would like a ride on a whale. Thank you, little fish." The fish nodded brightly and was soon back with his friend the whale. The whale was as big as a house, with skin as grey and smooth as mist, and a clever eye that winked at Lula when he saw her. His mouth was wide and seemed to smile like he had just heard the nicest joke. He bobbed up to the shore, and Lula slipped onto his big broad back. It felt like being on top of a bus. "Are you ready?" hummed the whale, and Lula nodded. Then, whoosh, they were off, gliding through the waves until they were all the way out at sea. Out there, the water was thick and dark as jelly. Lula saw tiny schools of fish the colour of gold and mesmerising manta rays. Dolphins frolicked, and as a storm gathered on the horizon, a rainbow shimmered from one side of the sky to the other. When Lula felt the first heavy drops of rain patter on her hair, the whale murmured, "Home?" "Yes, please," said Lula, and the whale turned majestically and sped through the water back to the shore as easily as though she were dreaming. Back at the coastline, the little fish waited to make sure she got safely back to the shore. Lula felt her heart beating fast, and it seemed to overflow with the beautiful things she'd seen. "Thank you, little fish. Thank you, whale," she said. The two sea creatures turned their laughing eyes towards her. "One good turn deserves another," the little fish said for the second time that day. "And now that my friend the whale has helped you, he is also very happy." "Why?" asked Lula. "Why, because it's his turn now. My family and I are about to nibble all the itchy barnacles from his flank. You did something nice for me, he did something nice for you, and I'm about to do something nice for him. It's funny how it works that way, but everything works out in the end." And that enormous whale gave a happy jump and arced from the sea. The little fish sped off behind him. And if Lula peered carefully against the setting sun, she could see hundreds of the little fish's family in pursuit, about to have the nicest dinner. Everyone, it seemed, had had a lovely day. The end. Thank you for reading with Storyberries.com. Free stories for kids.